Hey everybody, how's it going?
It's Thursday night, the Kim and Jay party.
I don't know about a party, but Kimberly and I have been talking for the last week, and we've been talking about a reset. A reset of, after this is all said and done, which we know it's going to come, and we start going back to our regular life, are we going to go back to the way things were, just normal, too busy, working too much, not hanging out like we've had opportunity to do right now? Or are we going to be different than who we were? Are we going to learn from this experience of what it takes to, reset? We've all been kind of pushed into a situation, forced into it, that it's really difficult to figure out why did this happen? Does it matter? And if it did happen for a reason, what is the reason? Well, Kimberly and I, I think we both feel that it's a reset.
Right.
Go ahead.
Well, I mean, obviously, God did not do this. This is not something God would do, right? He's in the midst of it. He goes through it with us to get us through, to kind of help us to turn and look to Him, and like a revival sort of thing. Like, okay, God, you are real. Wow, I got to get my priorities straight. I've really been doing things wrong. And a lot of us, in the American way, is our career, right?
Yeah.
And putting our dog is like going nuts over here, sorry. And our careers tends to be in America the number one thing that we're supposed to focus on. I mean, there's so many people that don't even get married anymore because they want their career, right? They don't want to start a family. Having work, God said work is good. We should work. But should it be the number one priority over your family? No. And I think this is a time that we've kind of set back and gone, wow, this is great. I got to spend some time with my husband. I got to spend some time with my kids. And I'm telling you right now, the kids, they're loving this. Sometimes when we go through hard times like this, we're all stressed out, the mom and dad. But the kids are like, wow, mom and dad are home. This is great.
Yeah,
and all this time with us.
Yeah, and the kids don't always indicate to us that they want to spend time with us. As a matter of fact, it seems like they'd rather we not be home. They're pushing us away. And, maybe that's true to a certain level. But I think we're noticing that the kids kind of like it when we're home. They're actually kind of sitting out here with us a little bit.
Right.
Now, in Braxton's case, I think we're kind of making that happen a little bit more than he would choose to.
But it's true. Like, we're all walking and going for bike rides. I mean, I see more families out now than I've ever seen before.
Right. So now that we've got this new lifestyle, because we're forced to be home, or we've chosen to take the advice to be home, now I've been able to work because I'm considered to be a crucial business, because in construction people need things done.
Essential, yeah.
Essential, is that what it is?
Yeah,
Sorry,
essential.
yeah. So I'm an essential business, and I'm able to work a little bit, but at the same time it has slowed down, and I have had to be home more, and I'm spreading the work out a little bit so I can be at home more to help Kimberly and the kids and whatever they need, because they can't work.
Home projects,
yeah, I did a couple, and I have a lot more to do, so I'm not doing good there, but I'm getting there. So either way though, but when all this is said and done, are we going to make an adjustment to kind of include some of the things that we're doing now that we haven't been doing because we were free to do whatever we wanted and we were busy? So that's what we're emphasizing tonight. What are you going to do? Think about what are the things that you're noticing different in what you're doing now that you weren't doing 3 weeks ago when this whole thing really started to kick in. And of those things, are you seeing this really helps? This really makes a difference. This really is how my family is, and I want to spend more time with them. To get that reset back in your life, to include it like we did when we first met, like when Kimmy and I first started dating, we didn't have kids. We were doing all kinds of fun things and spending time together and stuff.
Yeah.
And, now the kids can be included in some of that we never really noticed they kind of wanted to be included. And Kimberly and I guess just really didn't get it as much as we have in the last few weeks, being home a little bit more.
Well, like I said, we broke out the Wii. That was kind of cool. And, all the little Wii, what are they called? The Miis on the Wii, like from the old Miis that we used to make. It was kind of cute to see. And the other thing is, where was I going? I totally lost my train of thought right there.
No?
Continue.
Okay, well, so the reset is, what are you going to do when this is all said and done? You get back to work, everything's get back to somewhat normal. We know normal's going to change now. What are we going to do to incorporate all the good things that have come out of this thing? I hope some of you are looking at it saying, I don't have any good things out of this, but I think a lot of you are seeing some really good things out of this. One of the things I wanted to talk about too tonight was, it was kind of disturbing. Kimberly told me that a lot of people are talking and they're saying, well, I'll never shake hands again. I'm not going to be hugging people like I used to. And I'm going, wow, is this thing actually creating a separation in our society that is going to make things for the worse, where we're not going to be as, and I know hugging and shaking hands isn't intimate.
It's a personal thing.
But it's a personal thing where you're giving a little bit of yourself. And I hate to see that it's going to go in that direction.
Right. Me too, because I think it is going to change some people in the way that they are just more cautious. But here's the thing. You got to just wash your hands. I mean, wash your hands, be cautious. We're going to touch doorknobs. That I think is worse than shaking someone's hand, personally. But just be cautious and just know that we should still be very cordial and shake hands. I mean, that's what our society was built on, the handshake, right? Not a lot of contracts back in the day, but it's more like, hey, how you doing, Or, a hug. I'm a hugger. I will never stop hugging. So if you don't want me to hug you, you better go like this or something.
Well, hopefully you don't, because just the conversations where people are saying they don't think they ever want to do that again, because colds and flus have been around for a long time. This particular thing is a worse than the cold.
It's a little more
flu.
Serious because it goes into the lungs.
Well, and people are dying from it at much higher rates. But at the same time, don't give up who you are. God doesn't want you to give up who you are. In the Bible it says, greet each other with a kiss. We don't do that anymore. We've already stepped back from that, which I understand that's kind of weird, in today's society. But to give up on a hug or shaking somebody's hand or patting somebody on the back and saying, hey, how's it going? Good to see you. When I meet my friends, I grab their hand, I pull them close, and I kind of give them a hug and shake their hand at the same time. I would never want to, change that and who I am, because I'm already somebody who's very pushy, standoffish. I don't let people get close. And that is why one moment to be okay, especially with my friends, to let them know that, hey, I'm here for them. And they do the same thing back to me, and I love that.
Right. And also just remember, your kids, don't take your spouse and your kids for granted. Right now we heard there's a lot of divorce going on. And the stress hits us, but we have to look to the Lord and know that He is going to provide. He's going to take care of us. And you need to just have the peace that passes understanding just by knowing Him. Like, I've been worshiping, listening to music every morning, and it really just puts me in such a great mood. And I don't think about the worst case. I don't look at fear. I just look at the best case. I have a lot of hope. And, I just think of good things. I mean, I think if you just fill your mind with all the good, and we're in this together, and if you don't support each other, you really got to support each other through these difficult times, because we're all going through it. It's not something that I did that caused this relationship to be financially tight and things that we're going through. It's what's going on the external, and a lot of that is what happens, and the stress gets into your marriage, and you really need to work on just communicating and spending time and intimacy and just telling each other like where you're at and how you're feeling. And I still go out. I've been shopping, I've been going out, I've been hiking and walking and just all that stuff. He's still working. I have some clients I'm taking on Saturday, but it's gonna be okay.
Well, it's for me too. Some of the stress that you're dealing with, if your marriage was already under stress, this just added to it.
Right, it just adds.
And you need to turn to each other, and you need to help each other, and you need to talk to each other in a way that's loving and kind. Look at the best parts of who you're married to. All those things that have been building up, that you've been talking about in your mind and in your heart, that says this person isn't for me, and all those things that you've been saying, which we all go through that at moments in our lives. But this added stress can really start to create that and magnify that right now. And that is the worst thing you can do. Look at the good things about.
Yeah, start being positive.
Right,
change your perspective.
Right. I don't know what your spouse does, whether it's your husband or your wife, and what they do that's good. But I know there's things they do that's good that you can look at and point out and talk about in your mind and change what's going on in your brain about, oh, they did this, oh, they did that. All too often, Kimberly does something and says something to me, and I go to an old trigger where it meant this is what she meant by it. And I would assume that, and then I would go off on her, or I would start to get angry and say nothing at all and walk away, and then just brew in my mind more and more and more things that make me get negative to her and want me to hold back from her. And that's the worst thing we can do when we're married. We want to get closer to each other. Talk about those things. Ask for a clarification. If they say something that you automatically go to a trigger like I do, I often now have to ask her, that really came off wrong. What did you mean by that? Right. And if I don't do that, and sometimes she gets mad at me, like, what's wrong with you that you don't know what I mean? And I'm kind of, see, and I can go ahead and go, see, even more she's adding to that. Instead I go, I really need to know what it is that you meant by that, because it helps me understand. And most of the time it's completely different than what I'm thinking. It takes all the negativity out of what I'm thinking. And sometimes she says it and she says, yeah, that is what I meant. And I go, okay. Then I can at least talk to her and say, well, why did you mean that? If this is what you heard me say, I can now explain to her, which created whatever she said to me that caused me a problem. These are things that you guys have to be open with each other and talk about it. Don't just assume what they meant. And if they did mean it, talk about it so it doesn't interfere with your relationship, because you guys can work through this stuff. I didn't mean to say it like that. I'm sorry.
And I know there's a lot of pressure too, because some of you have lost your jobs, and it's hard. It is hard. Believe me, when we lost everything in '08, it was the hardest thing ever. I mean, we lost everything. And I think that it's, you just draw close to God right now and know that He is going to give you something even better.
And that doesn't mean you're going to lose. And what's going on right now doesn't mean you're going to lose everything, and that's not what she's saying.
No.
She's just saying when we did lose everything, all that stress and pressure is what caused us separation and isolation. And if you're not talking, isolation comes in very quickly.
Right.
And I don't know.
And there's a lot of things in play right now that are helping us out. Like you can call your mortgage, forbearance, things like that, deferment. There's all kinds of things that can help us right now. We're all going through this together, right? We're all feeling it. So, it's going to be okay. It's not going to be anything like 2008 at all. But what I'm saying is that
the pressure's
God
there.
is going to give you something better.
Absolutely.
Yeah, He just always does. I mean, we can sit here and we're a testimony to the fact that we had so much hardship, and it was super hard when you hear our story of what we went through. And that's why we're doing this, because we got through and we got stronger. Right. And we look to the Lord, and like I said, that triangle, as you grow closer to God, you and your spouse draw closer together as you each have your own personal relationship.
And when you do this kind of thing and you get through this, it's like now you're strong. It's like this right now for us is like, it's there, it sucks, and it's no big deal. We don't look at it as part of our relationship. We look at it like, we're going to get through this together.
Yeah.
Because back then, we were separating, isolating, and getting away from each other and not being together and not working through it together. Now we're looking at it going, when I have a problem or I have a bad day, or not a bad day, but I'm having thoughts of negativity and stuff, she goes, how are you today? Well, I go, well, good, but I'm just kind of feeling down today. And I would never tell her that before. I never actually felt that I could back in those days, because I was the main support. I was the one who's supposed to be positive. I was the one who was supposed to be up. And now I can talk to her and communicate and have that relationship that I always wanted. And we pray for each other. Like right then she goes, well, let's pray. Let's talk to God. And it makes me feel so good when she just hugs me and just starts praying in my ear. It's just an amazing event and intimacy that just really can guide you through these times. And all of a sudden you're not thinking about God. All of a sudden she starts praying, or she's not really thinking about God, or she's just upset. I start praying for her, and we both look at each other when the prayer's over and go, wow, I needed that.
Yeah, you just need to focus on God. I mean, when you focus on Him, everything else just seems like nothing. It's like, wow, everything goes away. I know.
Well, don't say everything goes away, because it doesn't go away.
I know it seems easier to say than it is done. It's true, but it's just years of just that relationship and
when
spending
you're doing
time.
It, yes.
And literally, I spend all morning listening to worship music because it makes me positive. It makes me happy, and it brings me joy. So I don't think about negativity. I don't put my face into the news and listen to all the negative. I don't do the doom and gloom. I turn that stuff off. I don't do that. I have to put good things in my mind so that good things flow out. Right?
Yeah, and for those of you who can't have the music on in the background or headphones, because you're on the phone or you're typing on the computer. You're at home right now, but when reset happens and you're back into work and stuff, the music's going to change. What you're doing is going to change. So you just have to recreate in your mind all the good things that have gone in your life. So you're not thinking of all the bad things that are happening at the moment, or the things that just aren't making you happy, and reiterating those and recycling those in your brain over and over and over again. It's like when I wake up in the middle of the night and I got something I can't get off my mind and I can't sleep because of it. Sometimes it's hard to stop. But it was something that started during the day. And then I got through it and I start changing how I'm thinking. So at night, when I do wake up and I get those thoughts, it's easier for me to cycle it out and think differently and go back to sleep.
Plus, we listen to these encounter meditations at night that is all about the Bible, and it really does help. It helps your subconscious, and then your subconscious starts just being trained to think good thoughts and good things and on God and things like that.
They're Bible verses that come up and they talk about the Bible verses.
So, do some meditation, do stuff like that. But we hope you guys take this reset seriously and learn from what we've experienced here, and that you just move forward in your life, and that you are blessed beyond measure, because God will always take something like this and make it even better. And we're going to rebound, and we are going to go strong, all of us. We're going to be back. And
good for us.
Yeah. So you guys take care of yourself, be well, and God bless.
Thanks for watching.